Recording. Start broadcasting. And we're here live. Shanghai's live. It is a Wednesday again. We're here. Katie's here.
Hello.
I'm here. You're here. We're gonna
Welcome.
go into the chat. Pop out the chat for a second there. And we got Kel. Nope. Our chat
Nope, we
disappeared.
had.
We had chat, and now it's gone.
It takes us a couple
Thank you,
minutes.
Ustream. Speaking of thank you, Ustream, all of our free Ustream space is just about full because they only do, 10 gigs?
Yeah, we only get
saved
10
video?
gigs of space. We're at 9.4 gigs, so...
Yeah. We're either going to have to start deleting
we
stuff
can upgrade
or...
to Pro for $99
Nope.
a month.
Nope.
Or start deleting and saving
Yep.
our shows somewhere
Supposedly we can send the show to YouTube somehow.
else. Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how yet. Come on, chat. You can work.
So we'll figure that out. Shaggy will figure that out this week as I figure out the website stuff, so we have something a little more permanent.
Yes.
Hopefully soon, because I actually start working an in-house job tomorrow.
Oh no!
I lose all my freelance from home time.
Oh no! But now you know what break time is, because then you don't work.
Yeah.
Let's see, Inhuman Robot saying start a new channel. We could just do Shanhagen's Live Channel 2.
Oh gosh, we could.
And just keep making endless free channels.
Yeah, we could do that.
But it's probably linked to your, like, Gmail or something like that. Because I know you also have, like, the Katie Shy channel. And
I do.
There's nothing there, but, like, unless there is something there. Is there something there?
No, I
don't
think
it's a separate account.
I was going to use it. I built it, and then I made Shanahanigans as a side thing. But with Katie Shy, I was going to do demos, but I just haven't had time to do demos.
But on top of that, I think it's like, it's all... Kelham says, hat. Yes, I wear this during the summer.
Yes.
And while I interview people and do live shows.
And go to
and go to cons and things like that. Yeah. It is your Wednesday day. What day is it? 13th? Maybe?
Yeah, it's the 13th.
Excellent. It's 13th. And as we say, this is an educational show. So if you...
it's the 13th.
Yes, of education. And if you wish to learn...
number.
If you wish to learn about comics and things, we will throw to you whatever we got in our minds. Right now, going on in Toronto, it's North by Northeast. It's our big music fest where every bar and event venue has guests and bands from all over the world performing all this week.
If you've heard of South by Southeast, I believe.
West.
No, South by Southwest. North by Northeast is our version of it here in Toronto. So it's music, film, interactive conferences. As Shaggy said, lots of parties to talk with industry people, and I haven't been able to make it out to anything yet, actually.
Probably not going to go anything out.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because actually at 6 o'clock was the Epic Mealtime panel.
That's right, yeah.
I found out about that like right near 6 though.
Yeah.
And it was it was actually on King, just a little east over... near the theaters and stuff like that.
I gotta check at least one of them out. I keep missing out on Toronto summer stuff because
I'm confused though, because how North by Northeast works is you've got to like buy a pass to see a lot of things, and the website doesn't really tell you what things are free or not unless you read like the specific articles. Mm-hmm. So like I was trying to figure out if I had to pay to see the Epic Mealtime guys, and it's like, oh, well, they wouldn't tell me.
Probably.
The panel is called like Winning at YouTube or something like that. So they're going to learn us all how to do what we do better.
I think I was reading an article about him, and the guy from Epic Mealtime used to be a high school teacher, and that's why a lot of the words are bleeped out from it. But I think it's funnier that they are bleeped out.
But he's also drinking like Jack Daniels.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, you can't swear for the kids, but...
Yeah, well, you can do it.
You can be hungover in all your videos.
But like, yeah, I guess they're all full-time now. That's the main thing. It's like how to make videos your full-time if possible, and that's... You know, the path everyone aims for when they do video. Someday. Oh. I need like a more sustainable product. I don't have any products right now. That's what we're secretly working on right now. Yes.
Are we?
Everything. No. Well, not us.
Oh.
Other people.
People.
We're working on things. Don't worry about it. Things happen. Surprises and stuff. But so if you're in Toronto, check out North by Northeast. You're going to see some of the live bands from all around the world. You know, take a chance, see something you never heard of, never seen. You might be surprised, you might be delighted. And what's been going on this week? How are you?
I'm good. As I mentioned, I'm actually starting my first in-house studio job after over a year of freelancing from home. So while I'm excited to be working with people again, I'm also like, oh man, I'm so used to my own routine and being able to go wander about and make my own hours.
Like on their dime.
Yeah, and also I'm I mean, maybe fashion has changed in over a year.
Oh, really?
I don't know what people wear these
What people
days.
wear in the studio?
What if I go in my sweatpants and it's like, no, we wear Aladdin puffy pants.
Does anyone in the chat right now work in the studio system? Do they...
yeah, what do you wear?
what do you wear to work every day? Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind, I'm going as an artist, not as a producer, so I don't need to look like the what
Wonka
not to wear
Pixie
show.
says, how's that going to affect Silly Kingdom 2?
Well, it technically shouldn't, because when I'm freelancing from home, I'm still working those same hours.
Yes.
It's just, now it's more contained and I have a commute as well, but...
Well, at least it's like
I mean,
you
this
leave your
job's,
work at work, right?
Yeah. And this, actually, I think it'll be easier because when I work from home, like you said, when I can leave work there and come here and don't bring it with me, then I can just focus on Silly Kingdom and other projects.
Okay,
if it's all here, it's constantly, I've got a Silly Kingdom page here and a storyboard panel page here, and I just get too frazzled. So this might be a good way for me to
maybe
just kind of reorganize a little bit more. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's not too long a contract, but unfortunately it's running into San Diego Comic-Con, so
yeah.
for people who expected us to be there, I won't be going to San Diego Comic-Con after all.
We're still trying to figure out my situation if I'm going or not, because
I think you should go.
Well, I do want to, but like financially and stuff, I want to make sure. Actually, here's a question. I don't think I'm going to act on the answer, but I'm just curious anyway. So when we were at where were we? Vancouver.
Vancouver.
We got a lot of time in the. Well, Calhoun asked if I'm still going. Well, this is what this question may not have anything to do with. I was curious about. But when we're leaving, we're coming up with ideas how to make that green. You don't have money.
Oh.
how to pay for flights and things.
Oh yeah.
And
There's
one of the
tricks.
ideas.
I just can't remember them.
One of the ideas, like I don't know if I'm actually gonna go for it, but one of the ideas I was gonna do was there's this. Yeah, for anyone who's listened to any of my audio crap, so like Shaggy reads. I don't want to say what it is.
Whenever we bring up the certain vampire romance novel that you read a very funny audio version of, our mother gets so nervous. She's like, they're going to find you and shut you down. But I'm like, it doesn't show up when you Google it as the first thing right under the movie. So I think you're okay.
Or the book or whatever. So.
Or it's like, we got to shut this guy down. Yeah. I think, too, because most people have read it and watched it, it's not a huge...
Yeah. So the whole point is, if you're familiar with any of that audio stuff, there's an original story I've been kind of kicking around for years. I was thinking of doing making an original book on tape series or audiobook series, I guess it'd be, and either have it on the iTunes store or chapter by chapter, or do crowdsource and make it happen, something like that. But I'm I don't think there's much call for that type of thing right now. I'm but right now
you never know.
I know, but it's just I feel like I'd be relying too heavy on it without any So my question to you guys, this won't I don't think this will change my mind either way, but would you guys actually be interested in a original book on tape that was never a book? It was just a tape story.
An audiobook.
Audiobook, yes. That was all written and voiced by me. So all the characters with sound effects and music, and it'd be a full production kind of thing. It might be a 10 chapter or 12 chapter series. I think what you should do, half an hour each chapter kind of thing.
Because you already wrote a couple radio plays already, you should make those somewhere easily available that people can check them out. Because I know you have them online on a reel, but
those are so old.
If you make it easy to find, people can have an example of what your audiobooks all look like.
Calhoun asks how long and how much, because that would be my deciding factor. Well, it kind of comes down to is you have to kind of rationalize it. So right now, a book on tape, you buy Harry Potter, those are expensive.
No,
those are crazy nuts.
I get books from Audible, and on Audible I get points. And Audible I spend it's a $15 a month membership.
Oh, that's different.
So usually the books are about 14 or 15 a download for a 8-hour, 12-hour.
So for the whole thing. So my thought is kind of how you can buy songs for say 99 cents or $1.99 or $2.99. It'd be kind of that for a chapter, but you're getting half an hour long story for your cheaper than a chocolate bar. You'd be getting a half an hour production and it'd be dirt cheap and affordable, right?
I don't know. I don't know what the story is yet or how long it's going to be. That is a deciding factor.
It'd be something like that, yeah. So I'm curious about I can't see...
I find it a thing for chapters kind of...
Well, that's the only way it would be able to exist right now.
I
can't do it anyway.
So you're only going to hand it out in chapters?
Yeah, it'd be it would come out each month you get a new chapter. It'd be
I feel like
a serial.
Maybe it could work. I feel like
And then
some people, it's hard to keep track of stuff, so it's like they prefer to have it all at once. So
you'll get it in 2 years.
Oh.
Because it's a lot of work doing audio.
Okay, yeah. I mean...
Well, I don't know, that was just an idea.
I don't
but,
know how audio
I tried to like see if I can time that out with Comic-Con.
I wouldn't myself buy books in chapters. Like, I download entire stories so that I can listen to it all.
It's called The Golden Age of Radio is back. Half an hour program every week. Live. Well, it wouldn't be live. But it'd be on iTunes. And then I lose 30% to Apple.
Well, I think...
Oh, I'm not doing
makes
it.
Sense.
I've been swayed.
I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I'm just saying for me, when I'm working on projects, I've never gone seeking out one chapter of a story. I want all of it.
But that's why like you'd show up like say after 2 months and you're like, oh, there's 2 chapters now. Well, check that out.
I guess, but for even your story narrative though, it's what do people forget and then aren't enjoying the
That's
whole
why we have
experience
recap
of it all.
Every chapter has a recap. We don't
So
have
it's
the
like
last
soap opera.
time. Yeah. But it'd be based in my wacky world.
Okay.
This is not selling. Oh.
Well,
it's not happening.
Don't let me dissuade you, but I'm only hearing about this for the first time on air.
No, we sort of talked about it.
You talked about having an audiobook. I didn't know you were doing...
No, but that audiobook would be per chapter. You don't have one giant file for like 12 chapters. It wouldn't make sense.
Sure would.
You want someone to download like this Pavilion
You want a contained story.
Yeah, but like
so
even
if
books
each chapter is a contained short story that it can exist on its own, someone's happy with it.
Oh, and as much
Silly
as
Kingdom,
what?
we didn't say you can get the first 5 pages. It was like here is a complete story.
No, but it's a complete story in a sequence where other stories can exist. So this would be like half an hour of content. Okay. You know, if not more, fully voiced, sound effects, music, full on production, treat for your ears. And your imagination.
I feel if you did that, maybe if you did short stories versus like here's my giant book, here's chapter 1, here's chapter 2.
Oh, but it gets you something to look forward to every other week. Yeah. Let's say I did it every other week.
But can you commit to that?
I don't know. That's the problem. See, this is why I'm not doing it because I can't. I'm tired.
So, question, people, will you?
Will you pay for something that doesn't exist?
Yeah, well.
See, so that's why I was kind of like, I was concerned like, if I need to raise funds for flights and stuff, I could do this. But I'm like, no, it's not gonna work. So, interesting idea. Just want to throw it out there, see what people think.
I mean, I feel like the audio
radio's dead
or radio play venue.
Video killed it.
It just most times it's like if someone's making a CD, they don't just have a Kickstarter for a song. They have a Kickstarter for their whole CD.
No, that's if it was a Kickstarter.
And sometimes it takes a while though.
If I went
sometimes
straight to
it'll
iTunes,
actually be like 6 months until it's done. I support a lot of indie music that it's like, here's a track and we're working on it and our CD will be out in the summer. So I donate it to it. I like the artist, so I'm like, okay, something I'm looking forward to. I get some sneak peeks at songs, but I ultimately will get it as a CD in the mail of every song.
Yeah, sure. So like, but I'm saying this would be the 2 different formats. One is if they say you did Indiegogo and you're like, okay, I need the monies now, so I'm going to promise to do this in the future and you get the complete collection. Another route is like, you do them as they show up and you like upload them to say iTunes. So like every other week you get a chapter kind of thing. So
you mean every other week you do an Indiegogo?
No. It would just be you make it and you put it in the iTunes store. And then every other week, someone gets a chapter. And it's like the complete collection.
If it works.
It's not going to work. That's why I'm not doing it. I tested out this theory right here. It's failed. No one wants audio anymore.
I mean, don't let me to make you shut it down.
Well, no, there's nothing to shut down. It wasn't going to work from the beginning. No.
We're researching it out here. I mean, there's possibilities.
I'm just bringing this up to come to the head of trying to figure out what we're doing for Comic-Con this year. So, as we point out, Katie won't be able to make it. Unfortunately, she's got a new job set up.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out if I can go to Comic-Con this year. Yeah. Oh well, we'll see what happens. We may say yes or no, depending. But if you guys are gonna be at Comic-Con, tell me what I missed. That'd be great. Let's see. Callahan is saying,
I just killed your dream.
for research, look at the Nerd of Advice Kickstarter. They funded an audio thing with that. Who's the Nerd of Advice? I don't know the Nerd of Advice.
It's a podcast.
No. What they want? Wonka Pixie says audio. And Flux says I want audio. Kellen says you can do it. But, I don't know. It would be the commitment side too, because that just adds like another project on my list. And it's like, there's so many projects. It's like, I want to focus on one and get it done. Might just have to say goodbye to Comic-Con. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's gonna...
Unless everyone buys another copy of Silly Kingdom. Then you can send me the Comic-Con. It'll be great. Oh, either way, this is how life works, is you take your chances. So, enough of my druthers. How are you?
What?
How's it going?
Good.
Excellent. Speaking of excellent, you know the complete opposite of excellent? There's this little movie called Oklahoma. It's a piece of garbage.
Oh, God.
Let me explain.
He was ranting about this on the weekend.
So, you know me. I love a good musical or two. Moulin Rouge is one of my favorite movies, and I don't care if you're like, oh, that music is all pre-existing.
It's not original.
Shut up. It's a beautiful movie. Ian McGregor, he could take me home and sing to me all he wants. Good times.
Oh,
but. So I go to the house back in Mississauga. I'm just like, give me all your old movies. I must learn of this golden era of greats. Oh, great movies. And you know, you grow up on Sesame Street, and the joke with, oh, Oklahoma is like the guy's always like using the wrong vowel. He's like, Oklahoma. And I'm like, haha, it's funny. And I love that sketch. So I'm like, oh man, Oklahoma's going to be great. Oh dear. This is one of the worst mornings I've ever had, and I don't even count the Hangover. It was, this movie was just, Let me open the scene for you as I explain to everyone, because I've been ranting on this. So the movie starts, and the guy's singing to some corn, and he's singing about how it's a great morning,
It's an epic...
and it's gonna go his way, and all this good stuff. And then he shows up at a farm, and then there's a girl there, and she also knows the main song, because that's how musicals work. That's fine. Everyone knows it. And then they start singing, and they're like, oh, hey, guess what? There's a box social coming up. I was like, oh, hells yeah, everyone loves box socials. And I don't know, like, they have this kind of catty relationship where he's always being a jackass and she's always being coy. And you know they're, like, stupid for each other, but if one says the wrong thing, they'll stand their ground and be like, well, man. So that sort of starts to happen. They're star-crossing themselves, basically. It's basically take Romeo and Juliet and remove all the family members and any other characters and just have them not date each other, and they're star-crossed lovers. Yeah, it's that stupid. So this is going on, and then he starts singing about, oh, guess what? I'm going to take you to the box social in a wicked awesome buggy. And now another song starts, and he starts singing about how it's got like wicked rims and shocks and friggin' neons, and it's the greatest buggy ever. And she's like, that sounds swell. And he's like, guess what? It doesn't exist! Boom!
I don't know what he thought was going to happen.
And he thought it was hilarious, and then she hates him forever now because he lied about the buggy. And so she decides, sorry if I'm spoiling this for you guys, but I'm saving you too. So she decides...
It's a movie from like, what, the 40s?
Yeah.
You should have seen it by now.
So she decides, sorry I don't know their names, but they're all dummies anyway. She decides, well, to show... His name's Curly. There you go. Well, to show Curly Cornsinger here, I'm going to go date the isolated, lonely farmhand who looks like an abusive individual who lives in a shed. And so
you described him as the psycho.
Oh yeah, he's a bit of a psycho, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Okay.
So like he's just like this lonely guy, and whatever. And he basically came in, and he's like, "Won't go box social," and she's like, "Yeah, Curly," and she looks at him, and then it's like, "Well, fine, I'll take your grandma," and I'm not making that up. So he takes her grandma, and it's all great.
That's a hot date.
So we have 2 hot dates set up. And the whole time she's always like looking over her shoulder like, oh, he actually didn't fight for me.
He's actually having fun with grandma.
Yeah, well, he was actually. He seemed to be having such a good time. And she's all like, oh, I got caught up in this abusive relationship. And then the movie starts to get weird. So up to this point, you're like, all right, it's a terrible musical. I can understand that. But it just starts getting worse and worse because... Then eventually, like, everyone comes to the box, like, they're getting ready to the box social, and their house is, like, the nearest house to the box social. So
everyone's got to go get ready.
So everyone's got to go to their house, and there's all these songs and dances about how I don't need men who don't need me, and they dance, and they fall on the floor, and then she looks out the window and sees him, and she's like, oh, I do. Wait, but I don't need him. I love the abusive, creepy guy. So that's fine. This is where it gets really weird. What movie is this? This is Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
If it sounds like a mess from hell, well, I'm explaining it accurately. So
you're slapping around this heart.
This is where it gets interesting.
While you're telling this romantic tale.
So Curly decides, all right, you know what? Like I figure he's gonna ration with this guy. So we don't know much about this farmhand guy. He's kind of a big, quiet, brutish guy, but you can see he appreciates any attention he gets because everyone hates him. Good on him. So Curly comes down to Psycho Farm Boy's shed, and welcomes himself in. And he starts looking around. And he's like, "Oh, you got pictures of naked women on your wall.
Oh, you must be evil."
And then he's like looking around, and he's like, "Look at this rope hanging from this metal thing. Boy, you could hang yourself on this. You could." And then he starts really selling to this guy that he should kill himself, and starts singing this song about how great it would be if he was dead because all these people would show up to his funeral. And then the farmhand guy started singing along. And they had
it's the ultimate box social.
Yeah, and they had this moment where they're just like, you know what, I wouldn't mind being dead right now. And it's just like, the movie just gets really uncomfortable around this part where you're just like, what the hell is going on? And I don't know if any of you have seen this. Stop me now. I've seen this movie.
No, it's good.
No, stop me because I just hate it so much. Because this movie just, and this is only like the highlights of the bafflement that go on in this production. It's just a series of twists into like everything you could possibly hate in a musical. I might be explaining it like it's fun and interesting, but like basically take everything I said and spread it out amongst 2 hours and have some really blah in between, and that's Oklahoma.
Why didn't you ever shut it off?
I did eventually because I thought the movie was over by the time I was going to turn it off, but it was still kind of going.
Okay.
So anyway,
so I find there's a point where it's like the movie's bad, but it's like that shame on me. I'm still sitting here.
So basically, we kind of learned that this box social, this isn't like in the narrative or nothing, but this box social isn't just a box social. This box social is like everyone who goes is pretty much getting married now, apparently. Because now the crazy psycho farmhand, who eventually kind of point out that he burned down a house or something, he basically says, "You're mine now, and I don't want to see you running off with Curly or something." I'm like, dude, it's a dance. It's like you remember in Grease when Danny Zuko pisses off Sandy and then she starts hanging out with the other guy at like the track meet? It's like if that guy then continued the rest of the movie being like, "You're mine now. You're not Danny Zuko."
Well, some guys are creepy.
Yeah, but this is just a box social. And in the saying, there's so bad it's good and then there's just bad. Yes, this is category 2.
Yeah.
This isn't even worth getting friends together to watch. This is just drudgery. And I'm just... Oh, man.
Is this Turner Classic?
No, Turner Crap.
Oh, crap.
It turned my stomach. It was a Turner Classic.
Wow.
Turned it till I vomited. Ugh. None of the songs are any good. Like, the dancing's alright, fine, I'll give them that. Like, they give West Side Story a run for its money, sure. But beyond that, it's just... And I haven't even got to the end yet. Halfway through, there's this friggin' delusional interpretive dance at, like, in her mind's burlesque club or something, or I don't know what's going on. And it's like...
How racy is this thing?
Not at all, it's just irritating. Ugh. And then once they finally get to the box social, everyone's having fun. I explained this part to everyone. Everyone's like, alright, it was box social, let's enjoy ourselves. Then this jackass guy with a mustache shows up, because he has to sing. And he says, "Everyone settle down now, I want to sing." And they start singing this song about how, the farmers should like the cowboys, and the cowboys should like the farmers. And this inevitably breaks out a fight. Because now they're like, "You said we should like them?" And they start punching each other, and then Grandma has to like shoot through the roof and stuff. And it's just like...
This is a box social.
It's like we should be having fun. I was like, they were until this idiot. Wow.
I didn't think you could get angry about this again.
No, I'm keeping it in. I was a lot of anger on the weekend. It's just I'm sickened by it. Like honestly,
our fathers made a nice steak. Our moms at the table, and he's just rage.
This was my birthday dinner, and it was sullied. It was spoiled by a musical from the past that haunted me in the present, called Oklahoma. Don't watch it. Even IMDb's all like, 7. I'm like, you shut up. No. Cahan says, I thought it would be like the Evil Dead musical, but it wasn't.
No.
What, Oklahoma? Oh, you mean Teen Wolf the musical, I think they're talking about. I saw Teen Wolf the musical. I haven't actually seen Teen Wolf the musical, but it was probably better than Oklahoma. Turner Classic indeed. Ugh. So around the part where they have to now auction off baskets of food, and whoever made the basket, you actually get her when you get her basket. and Curly
What?
and the abusive, insane farm help are both in an auction battle to win her lunch basket.
That sounds really
And
bad.
then Curly sells his horse and his gun to like two guys right there who buy it. And then he wins her. And then I quit because I thought the movie was over, but then more conflicts arose. Yeah.
But she's still playing coy.
I don't care. Oh, God, I'm done. I'm done with this movie. Never again. So, moral of this story is not all musicals are amazing like you'd like to believe. Oh, you think they're dancing and they're happy. No. Not everything could be Cats.
I don't even really get Cats.
I also
but
hate
guess
Cats. I'm sorry.
You hate Cats.
Cats, if you get the soundtrack
such
now
fun
and listen to Cats,
music.
the first Cats, we have like the 2-disc collection. Because it's
Yeah.
like unabridged,
With Terrence
everything.
Mann and-
So I'm like, alright. And the first disc is fun and silly and Rum Tum Tiger.
Well, I remember having issues as
If
a
you wanna
kid,
go
so I'm
in,
like,
then he wants to go out, and he's a
because I
cat,
always be
cat,
like,
cat, cat,
what's the story though? What's the story? It's like, well, it's not a story. It's just
No.
got a bunch of different cats.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
no,
about
but
cats.
there has to be a story.
No, there's no story.
No,
It's about cats.
but like they kidnapped that girl cat.
No,
they
they don't.
almost
It's
kidnapped
about
that
cats.
old guy cat.
No, it's Cats.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first
That
disc
drove
is
me
fun and
crazy.
silly. The second disc will drive you bonkers bananas. Because like half the songs don't even make sense. Because there's this one piece where it's like, I used to be in musicals. And he starts singing like the foreign musicals he was in, and they're all just yelling at you.
Oh, that was Grittlebone.
I don't even know what it was about.
They were the classic cats.
I don't
They
like
were the
them.
station
No.
cats.
They're yelling at me. I'm trying to enjoy this.
they're
Hurting me.
they're feeling things.
Nah. So let's rephrase that. Not all musicals can be Moulin Rouge, which is the greatest musical, and I'm not even sarcastic. I love me Moulin Rouge. It's got perfect arcs. It does that thing where, like, originally... You know, like, when you have art imitates life? It does this thing where it's, like, they make art imitate life, and then in the first half of it, and then in the other half, it's life imitates art. Because in that movie, stuff was happening... That when, you know, what's his face?
Well, it's all
Duke,
well and good when you're writing about it.
Well, the Duke shows up, and then they basically make up this musical based on everything that happened up until now. And then they write the second half, but then they live out that second half outside of the musical.
And it's just not so
And it's
goofy
like, it's
anymore,
brilliant
is it?
how they do it. And it's also like, it's just such a good movie. Wait, except when the two guys sing like a virgin? What?
That's an awkward story.
How could you say that? That was incredible. I lost it
That
when
was
that happened.
the heart of Moulin Rouge.
That was incredible. Zidler and the Duke singing like a virgin was a highlight.
That was the whole reason that
weird.
movie was made.
Oklahoma was weird. That movie was brilliant. Creepy. Oklahoma was creepy.
Oklahoma needed more jelly
Ah.
boobs.
Oklahoma, indeed. No, not happening. But apparently I gotta watch like Singing in the Rain and stuff to clean that out, to like wash out the poor tastes Oklahoma left in my brain. We Bought 15 says, I got sick of missing this for work, so I left. They came in a great time. We're here at the Hate Hour. If you have any musicals that you hate, please throw them into the chat and we'll discuss them.
Aw, you shouldn't hate anything.
No, as we all learned, you should learn from them. You know what
Yeah,
I
you
learned
should
from
try and
Oklahoma?
learn.
I hate Oklahoma. That's what I learned from. Not if you live there, you're good.
Yeah, I know.
The musical. Turner classic indeed. I tried to learn from it. I learned to stay away. It's like the early cavemen when the rattlesnake was like and two cavemen, one was like kitty and he wanted to pet it. He died.
That sounds like a very familiar
The other
scene from
caveman-
a recent movie.
The other caveman survived because you learn to stay away from things that hurt you. Oklahoma hurt me. I learned to teach you all. Like I'd be like the guy missing an arm, being like, "I saw Oklahoma once. You kids stay away from that musical." But no, they buy tickets that night because they're a rebel-rousing crowd, and they find out the truth, and then they get knocked off one by one watching that movie. Oklahoma. Hate it. Tried to learn from.
So,
No.
anything positive happened to you
Disgusting.
this week?
I turned off Oklahoma. That felt pretty good. I ejected it right in the garbage.
Turned into rage hour.
Oh man, God. And I'm not even that guy who's like, oh, it's old, it must suck. No, it sucks because it sucks. Some things suck by definition. Like on the back of the box, it should say sucks when you're like looking at the description. They might say, oh, a rousing good time, and I translate that to sucks now. I don't believe anyone who enjoys Oklahoma.
I feel like I have to watch it
No,
now.
no. I will say this one thing though: if you are forced to watching it, there's a fun way to watch it. Pay attention to all the extras. Don't watch the main actors.
Mm-hmm.
There's specifically when it's all the female characters at the house getting changed and singing. Watch all the other extras because they are the most awkward people you'll ever see in films. They do. Here's my favorite thing. So they do this thing like whenever this is kind of a musical thing that they do. Whenever the lead is singing and she's like doing her pose, she's like, I don't need a guy who does this and that. All the other extras do this thing where they go. And just fly in, and they're like paying attention to her, but they like try to freeze in time so that you're only looking at the one who's moving. And so they're all like, and you see some of their like faces like waver, like, and like you're like, dude, what is she? What's going? You know, like she's like she can't hold it, and then eventually they're all allowed to break when the lead does a thing where she starts to acknowledge they exist. So the lead will be like, I don't need a man, right, everybody? And then at the moment they're like, oh! And then they come back. And it's like the freakiest, weirdest thing you'll ever watch.
I think that stuff you're supposed to see it on a stage, not so close. Yeah. All that super broad, like, and like, acting.
It was fun for me because then I started building side stories for these characters. I discovered one of them was like an android who was trying to blend in.
I said there was a Cylon there.
Yeah, she was a Cylon. She had short blonde hair and she was like the most robotic of them all, but I could see she wanted to be human. And it was like interesting reading into Oklahoma.
Maybe that's what it was about.
Yeah. It's about the human
trying
condition.
To fit in rural towns when you're a robot.
Yeah. Beyond that, it sucked. Ugh. I can't even. Can't. Yeah, nothing positive happened this week.
Nothing at all? I mean, the last I saw you was on the weekend. It's Thursday.
Let's see what's going on. Surviving Oklahoma, make a sci-fi backstory for the extras.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I can honestly, here's a trick, a little tip for all of you actually. Any movie you watch, if you watch it again a second time, look for the things you didn't look at the first time. I'm not saying like look for Easter eggs and stuff, but like, you know, look around, pay attention to what the other characters who aren't talking are doing. Because I was watching someone link me this video to Michael Caine's acting.
You're watching all the other people.
So I watched. No, it wasn't that. He's the one who said he's like people. One guy's like, oh, Michael Caine. If I want to be on stage and I got nothing to do, what should I be doing? And he's like, right. Well, if you're on stage, you got nothing to do.
Look at my eyes.
What? Look at me.
Right here.
Look at me. They're funny if you watch them. But the main point was like, if you're an extra or like the other character, and you're not talking right now. What you want to look like is that you want to say something, because you're not. Your character isn't. Your character isn't like waiting for their line. Your character is waiting for their chance to talk in a way. So it's not like it's my turn. It's more like. But don't keep doing like, but it's that kind of thing, like, look like you want to say something. So when you sit there, like, think in your mind what your character would want to say, and like...
During a song?
Well, not during it. Well, maybe. But don't do this.
Then pull back.
Because that's freaky. I don't like it. But check out Michael Caine's acting.
Can you check that out?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
I thought it was taken down.
No, it's up.
Back
again.
up? Sweet.
It's the greatest.
He's
doing that whole thing. Oh, the other thing is like when it's like shoulder over shoulder. He's talking about like you pick an eye and you look at it.
All right, because you only look at one eye.
Yeah, because like he's like if you blink, it shows weakness. So don't blink. You know, so he's basically saying if you're an extra and someone's talking to you over shoulder shot, look at one eye as long as you can, and not go like the people in Oklahoma who can't seem to focus. Yeah. Oh, Weebot says, yeah, you have a million things to say, you just choose not to say them. There you go. Exactly like that.
Oh, I like that.
There you go. In all honesty, I can't sit through the sound of music. Any music? Or just like the movie, The Sound of Music? I was just checking, because like, the sound of music.
It's just, I don't like music.
Yeah, I don't know. Sound of Music. It's something I've never actually watched.
It's one of those ones that whenever we went to go visit Grandma, they put us all in the basement and had us all watch Sound of Music.
Sound of Music.
Yeah.
Or friggin' Road to Avonlea. I don't friggin' know.
That and the Goofy movie. We went crazy during the Goofy movie.
Is the best.
Jumping on the couches.
Oh, it looks like there's a lot of hate for Sound of Music. We should compare our hate. Oklahoma versus Sound of Music. I hope they both fail in the end.
I think Sound of Music's doing alright.
Is it? That blows my mind. Like, if I see Oklahoma's coming to Toronto, or like any city with taste,
I'm gonna buy out every ticket just to save everything.
No, it'll amaze me that it happens at all, because I'm just like sitting there watching this, being like, who thought this was a good idea? You know, it's just like I gotta let it go. I gotta let go of the pain.
Steven?
What?
Shaggy?
Hi.
It's not for you.
I know. I don't know. It must be for people with finer taste than I. I, the proletariat, cannot appreciate.
Because I can't picture someone making it being like, oh, this thing is god awful, let's put it out there. You know?
Are you sure? She's not some guy who's like just trolling the theater in the 1930s
he
or whatever
just
it was
hates
made.
people so much.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's kind of like Saw in the 1940s.
Yeah, it's basically like
they just make bad movies and make you watch
they
them.
went out of their way. Yeah, well, you imagine
And
that.
then
like,
you get some really influential people say they really liked it, and you're like, oh yeah, I really liked it
here's
too.
Here's the thing. Terrible movies exist now. Chances are they also existed back then.
Oh, absolutely.
To imagine that everything was great and wonderful is just a dream.
No, I think the thing is it's like the movies that survive are the good ones.
Yeah, but why did this tag along, dragging its corpse?
Well, maybe this is its last.
It's like it got caught in the wheel of the wagon with the friggin' rim and the lights and the danglies and the stupid song. I will say this about West Side Story, though. The worst 7 minutes of my life. Because the opening is 7 minutes long of absolutely nothing. I'm not being sarcastic. It's the city outline, and it just changes colors every few minutes.
Oh.
It's because it's like the overture. It makes sense.
It makes sense if you're coming into the theater.
If you're in the
doesn't
theater,
make sense if
it
you've
makes
already
sense
sat
because
the
it's the
trailers.
overture. But after all the trailers are sitting there, and there's like an outline of a city, it's not even as smart as like the, in the recent Fantasia, how they have the city draw itself. It's like, it's like, all right, that's cool. This is just basically a silhouette of buildings, and it's the whole song overture for like 7-8 minutes.
Wow.
And then it just kind of fades to different hues, and you're just like, good golly. This was a good idea.
People had more patience back in the day.
No. Jump in the chat, see what's going on. It's been a while since I've heard everyone's a little bit racist. That's Feather Heather. Yes. Avenue is actually come back to Toronto. I've already seen it twice, so I'm good. But I love me some Avenue Q.
Yeah, that one's really fun.
First time I saw it was in London. It was really good. They had a great performance. It's interesting because normally, oh god, what's the name of the little guy from the... He's like the one who owns all the places in Avenue Q. Gary Coleman, there you go.
Oh.
Gary Coleman is kind of like, as far as like how the roles are played, it's usually for a woman to play in these musicals because they need like the higher voice. But the one in England actually had a guy do it instead. It was kind of interesting just seeing like his take on it because it's like they usually have like specific like castings for certain roles. But I'm like, oh, that's interesting. They changed it up for Gary Coleman, but he had like a high enough voice, I guess he could pull it off. You know, that's me. I'm Gary Coleman from TV's Different Strokes. Avenue Q is fun. Great fun musical. I'm not sure how it would have changed by now because a lot of the jokes are a little out of date. Yeah, it was a little contemporary. Like the beginning of Gone with the Wind, it takes forever, it says in this box. Does it? Back in the day where they enjoyed a good overture. They also enjoyed people singing while a book was opening in Disney. So it was like, like, alright, got it. Yeah. And then none of the animators got credit.
I know, it was
a good time to be an animator.
No, some did.
Really?
Yeah, some big name guys.
Did they? Those credits were like 10 seconds long.
I'm pretty sure I saw Frank Thomas on there.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, not any of the in-betweeners, but I could be wrong.
Fair enough.
But those were very short credits.
Yeah, no one got respect. Now credits are almost too long. Too many people work on movies. I gotta cut it down. Or give me work, I don't know.
We're just having a really fast.
I saw Shrek the Musical. It was awesome. I saw Shrek when it was in Seattle. They were doing like the pre-New York run, and that was like a while back. I didn't think anything kind of came from it. It was fun though. It looked like it was a smaller theater, but it was like it was just silliness. It was well written, decent songs. They had a really interesting thing where they followed a Fiona from little kid to like a tween to the main singer, and they kind of went through like her waiting for someone to show up. Growing up, and like the cast would rotate and a different actress showed up, so like that was interesting.
That's cute.
It was a nice addition. Check that out if you haven't yet, if it's around. Shrek the Musical. We're here on the Musical Hate Hour. If you have any musicals you want to hate on, just write in and we'll get back to you on that. We'll discuss your hatred. Is anyone else having trouble with Ustream tonight? Ustream tonight. Maybe this is.
Is it cutting out?
I don't know. How's it still running?
Maybe we're hitting the end of our gigabytes.
What? Well, Wonky Pixel's fine, so we're good. Only tonight says Fluxbox? As in trouble, or only tonight, one night only to hate on musicals?
Yeah, get it out
one
now.
One night only, because we don't hate on musicals forever. Only for now.
Actually, I like musicals.
Only for now, for now. Oh gosh, just to remind me. Avenue Q has that one song, I Wish I Can Go Back to College. And, like that, oh man. I basically saw Avenue Q right when I was like the same age as the character, right when I graduated, and it
were
all like
22.
struck home. Like you watch friggin' like Les Mis, and I'm not worried about some French guys kicking in my door. But like you watch Avenue Q, and all of it is so real and raw. I'm like, this I identify with, and I was just like
being on your own for the first time after college.
Yeah, and just the song about I wish I can go back to college has the saddest ending part, and it was just I could sing it now.
It's a really sad song because it's about feeling like when you're in college, at least you know who you are, and you feel like you're on top of the world, and then you come out into the real world, and it's like you're not as special, I guess, as you thought you were. So it's like, just want to go back. It would be so awesome.
Oh, check out the song if you haven't yet. It's very good. It's like a triette, I guess, of the three people.
It actually makes your eyes water a little bit. If you're feeling. Because sometimes I have those moments where I'm like, I just want to go somewhere where I can learn. I don't have to worry about adult problems.
Like, here's the thing, I'm just saying don't want to go back to school. Yeah, I don't want to go back to school because I don't need essays and judgments and stuff.
No, I mean, I'd rather make money than pay to...
It's the atmosphere of, like,
learn,
everyone there is just so there.
Well, it's the enthusiasm. And, I mean, you can find that in certain workplaces as well.
Yeah, certain workplaces you can get that.
It's just, you know, finally you're in a place where everybody gets you and you're so excited and enthusiastic to make things. And especially in a creative schools like the ones we went to.
You know,
we're making projects together.
Tango Charlie says, I don't hate Rent, but I do hate how popular it was in the 90s.
I haven't been able to finish Rent.
Actually, I might hate Rent. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I've only seen bits of it.
You never know you hate something until you check it out, so just remember that, guys. You won't know how much you hate it. I haven't seen it yet. I want to check it out. Well, and it says I couldn't finish Rent, so maybe I don't. See, at least, like, West Side Story was interesting. It was a little dumb. But it was actually, like, an interesting story. Because it was all about, like, these two gangs. There's, like, these guys. Then there's these guys. You know, they all dance.
Mm-hmm.
And they dance, and their dancing is, like, their fights. So, like, they show up at the basketball court, and they dance the piss out of each other.
Yeah.
And then someone gets knifed because they dance a little too hardy.
Oh.
Very different from Step It Up, or whatever. Step Up. People giving their love for Chicago and their love for Little Shop of Horror. Rick Moranis is finest to date.
Little Shop is really fun.
It's one of those movies I never actually saw until way later. It's really weird. Like, freaking Steve Martin kills it. He is brilliant in that movie. As the dentist, the sadistic dentist. So check out Little Shop of Horrors. All right, good musical movies. Round off. We got Little Shop of Horrors.
Okay.
We got Moulin Rouge.
I like the Phantom remake.
Phantom was good. All right, fine. Phantom with Gerard Butler. What else will we be watching? Good musicals.
Muppets Christmas.
Right. I guess it's a musical. Yeah.
It's not like one
Muppets
that was
Christmas
made as a musical per se, but yeah, it's a musical.
Yeah. Well, Chicago.
Wait, musical?
Do you enjoy Chicago, the movie musical? The musical movie?
I
Cellophane.
Yeah, I liked it.
Cellophane.
I like the minimalism of it because it's.
Wasn't that
like
Dr. Steve Brule?
What?
Wasn't that Dr. Steve Brule as Cellophane guy from? Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Brule for your health.
Sure.
Tim and Eric.
Oh, okay.
He sings Cellophane, right?
No, it's the guy.
He's also playing Wreck-It Ralph, I think, isn't he?
Okay.
He's like, hi, I'm Wreck-It Ralph. You can watch my movie.
I don't think his name is Steve.
That's fine. There's some good musical movies out there. And then there's some horrible ones to watch out for. So watch out for Rent. Watch
Some
out
people
for
might like Rent.
West Side Story.
I thought you enjoyed that.
Oh, wait, did I?
Yeah.
Check it out, but don't keep your hopes up. Yeah. Don't watch Oklahoma. Do not. I'm just telling you. Like, I've said what I can. Don't believe what IMDb says. That doesn't deserve a 7. No. I'm good. Speaking of dance performance, I went to my first hip-hop dance class last night.
What? How did this come about?
Oh, because, like, we won some dance lessons, and so we had to do dance lessons.
Oh, from that dancing thingy you
we did a
did
dance thing.
for Xbox.
And we won the dance. And then Microsoft wanted us to go dance so we could take pictures of us dancing. I'm like, okay. So that was interesting, because if you know me, I don't dance. And not because it's like, you know, I don't know how to, which I don't. But it's like, I have trouble feeling the groove and the rhythm. You know, there's that song, when the rhythm starts to play, dance with me.
That's not you.
Make me sway.
You're the one singing in the corner.
I don't need to be made sway. You know what I'm saying? So dance is really my thing. But this was actually a really fun, interesting class because it was basically very much like playing Dance Central on Connect, where you have like the characters in front doing the friggin' moves, and you're just trying to do your best to keep up and copying. So like, even though I'm sitting down, I'll give you a little sample. So we start off with this, and we did the 1, 2, we went it was something like that. Just went on a little longer than that. So I learned all these moves. Now I'm, and then right after friggin' Bring It On was on the TV there. And I watched it. And at the first time I'd watched, no, not Bring It On, sorry, that's Cheerleaders. Step Up, like the real raw dance. Step Up, right?
Is that Sexy Dance?
No, Step Up. So Step Up was on. And I'm like, originally when I watched Step Up, I'd be like, these guys are chumps dancing for money and flips and lasers. Forget that. Now that I know what it takes, I have a whole new level of respect for these guys watching this Step Up business. Because I'm like, you don't just backflip and roll around and throw powder at people like it's nothing. It takes work.
Yeah.
It takes effort. Splish splash in your water dance. If you ever watch Step It Up, it's messed up. It's basically like an anime, oddly enough. It's basically like Pokemon. If you watch Step Up, it's a lot like watching Pokemon compressed into 2 hours, because every dance is themed. So like the first dance is like the baby powder dance, because there's this gang all covered in baby powder.
Ooh.
And they're like clapping it at you, and you're like, oh, baby powder. And then they rebuttal with more baby powder. And so our characters win. And then the second dance is in like the cockfighting arena, where chickens will be fighting normally, but now it's like dancing, because people are like betting on them and stuff. And then someone breaks a faucet, and then it's the water level, like it's water Pokemon. And so they start doing the splish splash dance. They start doing like slip and slide, crocodile mile type crap. And it's badass. And they're like, guys, I got an idea, there's water. And it's like splishing around. And then they win that one. And the final dance...
Couldn't you just say it's elemental instead of saying it's Pokemon?
Oh, I guess that's true. Alright, fine. It's Avatar. The baby powder bender. The friggin' disc tournament.
What baby powder Pokemon?
I don't know. It could be like Ghastly or something. Ghost type.
The air kind, yeah.
Yeah. Ghastly. But it's that kind of deal. So it's a weird, when you analyze the movie and make its comparisons to say anime or elemental based fighting, it actually matches up pretty well. And they like level up and stuff too. They get shoes.
Oh.
And there's love and loss and all that good stuff. So Step It Up is quite something. Got what's going on. I will watch it now and appreciate what they do, because I know the pain of dance.
Dancing's hard.
It is hard. I don't like it. I prefer singing. Are you fighting or dancing in this? What, it look like Muay Thai? What do you think of this? My Tony Jaa with my elbows?
Isn't that kind of a dance?
Yeah, everything's a dance.
Water dancing?
Life's a dance.
Death dance.
Breakdance fighting, says Flex Fox.
Yeah.
So that was dancing. So I recommend go check it out. If you haven't ever been to a hip hop dance class before, it's just like, what's that all about?
I have.
A lot of your schools probably have them in their downstairs in the athletic
after
department.
Hours basement.
Yeah, after hours athleticisms.
Yes.
Check that out. It's a little breakdance fighting. It wasn't breakdance for me though. Mm-hmm. Off topic, what Katie you working on? We'll be able to see it if it's pencil?
No, I mean, I'm not loving it.
Usually, the only reason we don't really show Katie stuff is if it's pencil, it's kind of hard to see.
I mean, it's pencil, so it's easier to see, but I don't like anything I've drawn.
Alright, Katie's not going to show you, so you have to deal with us a little bit longer.
Give me a minute. I'm
sure?
having issues with figuring out this character.
Is this for somebody, or is this...
It's a commission, yeah.
Yeah! Does it have to do with the witch wizard?
Yeah, it's anything sword or magic-y, so I'm just trying to...
It's going a whole different way. I see.
Just trying a different...
I see. But if you have any questions, this is an educational program and we'll help. We don't just complain about musicals and appreciate dance here. We also talk about art and finer things. Like more art. And hates.
Yeah.
Something interesting I actually want to bring up. I don't know if any of you ever played Azura's Wrath, Capcom game. At first you think of it's like, oh, it's just one of them beat 'em ups like God of War mixed with Dragon Ball or something. But it's a little different than that. Azura's Wrath does star a guy who looks like he's right out of Dragon Ball, spiky hair, muscles, and stuff like that. But it's the format of this game. If you even call it that, it's more like a visual experience. How it works is the game basically is designed like it's an anime series, and every episode you play is like bookended with a next time on Azura's Wrath kind of thing. And because it's like all your gameplay is in like these 15 to 20 minute intervals. And like halfway through the level, you'll get like the splash page with the title, like the commercial break. So it'll be like, Azura's Wrath kind of thing. And it's actually really fun because it's a very interesting way to play a game or watch a game. I guess if your friends are there too, they can like watch this anime that you're in control of all the times when you have to like do rapid punching and things like that. And it's like, because it's like you can like really bookend your experience if you just want to play something really short and then like get excited for what's coming up next. And they have like the voiceover from like the female lead being like, next time on Azura's Wrath, Azura has trouble with this and he has to punch it. Join us. Da, da, da. The only downside is there's no like rock and guitar like credit sequence right after each level because that would have been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But that would have been kind of fun to do.
Come join us and punch things.
Yeah, but like it's really intense because like say you're watching Dragon Ball, you're watching Fist of the North Star or something like that, and then when it's a time where he has to punch a lot, you have to do it. So I'm like holding the controller, like reaming this button, trying to get all these punches going off. And it's a sequence where like one of the first bosses you fight is basically this guy turns gigantic, so he's like larger than the planet. And he's gonna crush you with his finger. And his finger's coming down through the atmosphere right for you. And then you go, and then you grow 4 other arms because you're like a deity or god. And you start ramming the A button, and you're like punching this finger.
Oh man!
And then once you finish it with the super punch, it like goes all the way up into space and like blows the guy up. And it's incredible and stressful and stuff like that. So my to be continued was I lost all my arms now because they're all like robot arms. I'm kind of like a human with like fake arms or something, or a deity. And I'm fighting the cool bad guy who used to be my friend, but now he's working for the bad guys. Oh.
What a twist.
You know, so it's like I'm excited now. Like usually in games, I could drop a game and just because you don't know what's coming next. You know, like you can put down a game and be like I put down Final Fantasy VII when I was about to get into the submarine,
okay.
And I never picked up after that because like
the submarine.
Exactly. Who knows? I was outside of a submarine. I was going to get in it. And I didn't.
Mm-hmm. But if they told you what was going to happen in the submarine.
If they're like, next time on Final Fantasy VII, Cloudo! I'd be like, oh my. This looks exciting.
That's a really good idea.
It's an interesting idea. You know, it's kind of like if you're going to quit your game, you know, it's like, next time on Halo, you know, or whatever. You're like, oh, I should pick it up again in a bit so I don't forget how fun it is.
Yeah, that's good.
And then the beginning is like a recap sometimes. Is it? I forget now. Maybe it is. But the cool thing is each chapter also starts with credits. So while the sequences are going, it has like lead design, this and that. So you feel like it's an anime. So if you haven't checked it out yet, it says Azura's Wrath on the Xbox or PlayStation, I believe, from Capcom. Very interesting game. Very stressful.
Is it like really cartoony or?
It's colored in that way where it's kind of like not pencil-y, but it's like very sketchy colored, kind of like how a lot of the Street Fighter stuff is going on these days.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know, like the kind of painted look during those trailers when it's like Ryu and Ken are kicking ink at each other and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got that kind of filtered look, so it looks like it's drawn. But like beyond that, like the gameplay is kind of like one of those combo beat 'em ups where you run around and punch things. But beyond that, it's kind of fun. It's fun to actually play with other people watching because if you're all like anime fans, like if you all like Dragon Ball and stuff, it's just you can gather around the tube and all play this anime series, which is a very interesting idea, very interesting take on the genre. What are you drawing now, Curtis?
No. Not having a very good drawing afternoon.
No?
No.
It's your last day of freedom.
I know! I think that's psyching me out.
Innes is saying it sounds like a cool idea, but seems like it might not have much replay value. The replay value would be trying to get like S's, because you get like rankings based on how well you do. And there's a lot of like, you know, like it may not have, if you can rent it, go for it, I say. Or like get it as a gift, which I did.
Oh yeah.
You guys remember when Tube actually described the shape of the television? No. I know of the time, but I wasn't there for it. Tango Charlie. But yeah, it was a tube. It wasn't the flat screen. Do people say that at your house? They're like, "What's on the flat screen? Is Carson on the flat screen?" Something like that. Maybe.
Probably.
Three Stooges.
It's really warm in here.
Oh, is it? Marx Brothers. I wish. Apparently I'm supposed to watch the Marx Brothers. I haven't watched them yet. They do some good stuff. And Sean Connery references them in Indiana Jones. Remember?
Does he? The Marx
Yeah, he's
Brothers?
like, I should have sent the book to the Marx Brothers.
See, I thought he was talking about some other adventurers. I didn't think he was making
No! They're a comedic trio.
Rip at him for being like, I should have sent them to the Three Stooges. Oh, I totally.
It wasn't the other adventurers who would have done a better job.
Aww.
It was other jokers.
Now you just ruined that movie.
No, I've explained it to you.
Like
the cultural relevance.
How I ruined Raiders.
Oh, you ruined Raiders for yourself?
No, it was only that review I'd heard.
Oh, okay. Whose review was it?
I think it was Hulk Reviews Movies.
Oh, okay. Katie's been on this whole Hulk review thing lately.
I find it really enjoyable. I mean, essentially, it's like reading pretty smart movie reviews, all in caps with bad grammar, but he has really smart points. But,
well, he's the one who was saying like he met up with Tarantino, and Tarantino's like, you shouldn't hate movies.
Yeah, well, he's right. I mean, there's always something.
There's always something you can learn from movies. Let me tell you one thing though. That Oklahoma. I don't even know.
That's a really creepy Tarantino.
That's how he sounds, isn't it? He's like, I made movies. Tarantino. I think he sounds like that. He's in all his movies.
But the way Raiders of the Lost
Ark witness says that's Woody Allen. Whoops.
Yeah, that is Woody Allen.
Does Tarantino sound like that? Isn't he kind of like that? He's like, I made movies. Yeah, no. I made Pulp Fiction.
No, you're giving him a very Brooklyn accent.
No, that's if I go, I'm making the Django. Yeah. No? I have to rewatch him in all his movies.
Just go on YouTube.
I'll do an excellent review of why Downtown Abbey's SO2 fell so short.
I haven't seen any of it. Don't spoil it.
Woody Allen. Of course. I thought that was Tarantino, though.
Nope.
To be fair, I haven't watched too many movies. Like, I finally saw Pulp Fiction after like quite a few years, and I was like, Bruce Willis is in it. I didn't know. It's pretty silly, though. Silly Canadians in your summertime. Everyone's talking about the temperatures of their rooms.
Well, up here especially, there's no air.
Yeah, hot air rises.
So, and we have to turn the AC off for the show.
Well, now that we talked about things we hate and things we like, time to get on serious business. You ready for this? Are you ready?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. What?
Okay. Serious business. All right. This is ready. This may start some talking. Some thoughts, some backlash, some whiplash, who knows?
Uh-oh.
But we must discuss things, because it's discussable. So, recently in the video game world, right, there's someone named Anita Sarkeesian.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yes. She has a series on YouTube called Feminist Frequency. Now, basically she analyzes, I haven't watched too much of it yet, so I'm not the expert of this. She basically analyzes like female characters and stuff and talks about like different conditions. The only one I really saw was called the Pixie something, where basically it's a female character in movies like say 500 Days of Summer or Beautiful Mind, Spotless Mind, like all these kind of movies, and Garden State, where it's like the female's role is to remind the male character to enjoy life, and she's the quirky, weird, strange one. But that's kind of the core of her character, is just like, buck up, bucko, kind of thing. So I haven't watched too many shows, but she does these kind of videos where she analyzes. There's a thing called a Smurfette complex, where it's basically I didn't watch the episode yet, but this kind of stuff.
But I'm going to talk about these episodes I haven't watched.
But the reason I bring this up is because this thing is all over gaming news. If you haven't been paying attention, you'll see it eventually. She made a Kickstarter recently for a documentary called Tropes versus Women. And basically it's about female characters in games and misrepresentation. This is something that's been going on for a long time. And doesn't really see any end of the road at this point. But she basically says, I want to make a documentary that looks into this. Now, the interesting part, this isn't the weird part. The weird part, or the interesting part, the unfortunate part, is the insane amount of backlash that came from her wanting to do this. Like,
I feel like it was like a forum link to it, and it had a very negative, check out this. Then everyone on the forum was like, blah. So it was a little bit more of hate than you'd usually see on a YouTube
But it's
page.
just like this. Now this has caught the eye of like every game media outlet.
Well, because I mean, essentially, it's like all the things she's talking about, these idiots in the comments are proving that there needs to be some looking into this.
Yeah, like the basic point of all is she's saying like, gaming, there's, the female characters are often just like accessories or just there to be sexy and stuff like that. And I want to make a documentary that kind of explores this, that takes a look at it. And just the response was like mind-boggling against, like, say what you will if you agree with the documentary and stuff like that, but it's just the response wasn't even about the doc anymore. It was just I could repeat some of the
it was attacking
filthy,
her
dirty language.
Her background, her...
It was basically
cult,
just racist, sexist, violent, vicious, rape intense, gore.
So pathetic. These comments.
Like, I'll give you $50 to make a sandwich and all this kind of stuff. It's just like...
Or shouldn't she have made this from the kitchen?
Yeah, it's just like... If anyone's intent was to try to say there isn't a problem, this wasn't the way to do it, kind of thing. Like, they basically made the point even better, or worse, if I look at it, than she could. And it's like, it was mind-boggling just reading some of these responses. And the other half is there's also the defensive side of it, where people are like, well, that's the web, what do you expect? That's part of the problem.
That is part of the problem.
The fact that we think it's so normal and we're cool with it is part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. I think some people said they were going to flag the YouTube video as a terrorist thing so it would get taken down.
Supposedly.
And I'm like, well, all the death threats are in these comments.
Yeah, supposedly that was kind of the push, like her Wikipedia got hacked and changed and stuff like that, and they wanted her videos flagged and her Kickstarter removed. And it's like,
I don't get it, because you watch it and I don't see where this rage is coming from.
Yeah, like the video itself, I watched it, and like it's pretty normal. It's pretty just like, hey, this is an issue.
This is an issue. We need to look into it. It's not, you guys are disgusting. Look what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like,
and it's not, I'm going to make it so you can't have fun with your games anymore.
But I think it's because these characters are showing up and they're like, what? That's my favorite game.
Yeah,
and it's smart people don't respond like this anyway. On like, you're dealing with just complete angry.
It's just kind of depressing.
And it's not an excuse. Because it's like, would half these people even talk like this if they didn't have anonymity at all?
I don't know. But it's like, and now we're going to get to the point where now the Kickstarter is overly successful. It's gone from its original 6,000 for 5 or 6 episodes to like 44,000 or something like that. Like, it's just crazy big high. And now we're going to have the other end of the spectrum of people being like, this is way too much money for this. You should, like, it's that weird thing, like, when you have a charity, people always want your charity to help other things. And so there's people like, you shouldn't be using money in this. If she wanted to help, she should put money into making a game with a stronger female character. I'm like, that's not what she's doing, though. It's like, if I'm making a documentary about hairstyles, it's not like, you should actually go out and cut hair better if you're going to complain about how hair is.
That's not what the point of this project is.
And then the other arguments is like, it's like, well, men have problems in games too. It's like, well, that's not what her documentary is about. Like, we can talk about whether they do or don't separately, but her doc isn't about helping everybody.
That's the classic. Whenever I talk about womanthology, people will be like, "Why isn't there a manthology?" I'm like, "Well, make one." And they're like, "Oh, but that's hard." but we're not stopping you. It's just we're making one thing that celebrates lady creators.
Yeah. So it's like
not a negative.
No. Now, perhaps my thoughts are, because her title it was a Feminist Frequency. I'm not going to lie. The term feminism has a bit of a bad stigma online because people assume the worst when they hear that. They always assume,
because they don't educate themselves to what the word means, which is equality for all.
And I was reading comments where people were like, well, I would call myself a feminist
like,
even though I'm a guy, and I'm like, you can support
and then it's people
women
who are like,
as a guy. It's not a surprise.
People who are like, oh, I'm not a feminist, I don't hate men. It's like, you're not a man hater. It's about celebrating and equality. And
it's like there's basically the base core of this whole thing is someone just wants to make a documentary that looks at, well-known characters and how they're been betrayed and stuff. I saw no intent of saying shame on you. I saw no intent of saying we're going to go to Congress and take this away from people. It was just, I want to make a doc. And it's just depressing of the response, and like and then the response to the response is a second set of depression, being, oh, that's just the web, but that's how it is. It's like, no, it's like, it shouldn't be like this.
But I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, it's like, so my suggestion is just like, make the doc,
grow up,
because the idea would be like, make the doc and then get the response. If everyone's hating before it's even made, then it's like you didn't even get a chance to hear the points. It was just, I'm going to make a doc that looks at this. No, you don't. There's no. It's like, huh. Let's see. Heather saying, I support feminism, but I'm not a feminist. There are pros and cons, one of those cliches, with much responsibility deals. I hear you on that, Chris. Oh man, it's a weird situation. It's like, it's one of those things, like, also the major response is people saying, like, well, it's always been like that. But isn't that the reason why people push for change?
Yeah.
It's like, in the old days, and even now, but like in the old days, some people were not considered people at all. They were property. That's something to fight to change. Not just say, well, it's always been like that, so let's keep that. That's just the way it is. It was in the good book and all this stuff, whatever. Keep it that way, it's fine. You gotta change shit. Mm-hmm. That's called progress. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so we're, in the next coming weeks, you're going to hear a lot of different things. You're going to hear, like, a lot of people being like, well, now she's got too much support, or this shouldn't happen, or I'm happy for her, or she's one-sided. And there's weird things, like people saying, oh, she's biased. I'm like, that's what filmmaking is. Even, I don't care what documentary. Any documentary you make has bias in it, because bias is opinion. Forgive me if my definition is like too broad or straightforward. But it's like,
if you're just gonna film a doc and don't do any edits
you cannot edit at all. You have to leave the camera.
And even whenever you're pointing the camera at, that's your opinion. That's your point of view. You're trying to tell something.
In the news, let me put this to you this way. In the news, whenever they say something's going on, like let's say, oh, free cheese for everyone, it's happening. Meanwhile, these other farmers don't think it's a good idea, and they're like, oh, I don't like it. Why did they come second? Why weren't they the first in this news piece? That is biased already. The order in which a story is told, the angles in which a story is told, the way it's edited, the type of music you use. Whenever something's supposed to be sad and they make the footage go black and white and sad music, that is a bias saying you should be sad. Mm-hmm. As opposed to if it was celebratory, being like, haha, that guy's dead. And I was like, wow. This is all bias. I don't care what documentary filmmaker you are, everyone has an angle and a goal. It may change, it may adjust, but everyone has bias. And that bias isn't a bad thing. People assume being biased is a bad thing, but everyone has bias because that's how you choose what you like and what you're into. You're biased towards certain things. So every documentary has a bias of some sort.
I do feel like there's got to be a better word for it, though.
But that's just the problem with our language in general. We have lots of words that we find. Like
the one bias does sound like a negative, where it's like you aren't going to give anything. It sounds
so does odor.
Bias sounds like you're not willing, but it sounds like you're not willing to give anything else a second chance, maybe. Like you're not willing to let other ideas.
Is there another word for prefer this but not against that?
I don't know.
Because a form of bias, like it's tricky. It's tricky.
I mean, I could pull out my thesaurus, but this kind of just.
Jen Drosso says, "Shag, I think you mean opinions, but opinions and bias is a part of it." That's what opinion
sounds like. But bias sounds like the negative of opinion.
It's tricky. I don't know.
Thank you.
All right, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, tell me if bias is 100% one-sided. If that's the case, then I'm using the word wrong, and everyone else who I've heard it recently has been using it wrong. But like some people say, well, I'm kind of biased this way. I don't know. It's tricky. Put it aside. Everything you make has an agenda. Let's put it that way then. You have a reason for it. So of course, if she's making this documentary, it has its agenda. But the point of documentaries is to hear everyone's agenda to form your opinion, not to shut it down from the get-go and like say it should end. Creepork says there's a whole issue about how the new Lara Croft becomes a hero because she has to fight off an attempted rape or something, and how if she was a man that would never have happened. I haven't actually read too much into that yet.
Well, it was an interview with I think the people who were making it, who they were talking about how this is part of her story, and that's an element there, and what makes her. Like, she starts off as someone who they build up, and then they make her really weak, and then they build her up again, and there's a lot of anger about that, because it's like, well, because she's a female character, this has to be part of her origin. It can't, like, you know... And that's something that's a bit of a...
my definition might be off then, sorry. Prejudice in favor of or against one thing, person, or group compared to another, usually in a way considered to be unfair. Damn it! Then what? Is it opinion, then? Because I've been hearing the word bias wrongly, then.
Yeah, maybe.
Neither here nor there. There's still a bias.
I hope that I'm like, no, I don't think that's right. You're like, well, what would you call it? And I'm like, easy. I'm just working here. And you're like, now I want to talk about something really... Okay, let's go.
Hard hitting. Okay, maybe bias is the wrong way. But everyone has an agenda or an opinion. The oatmeal fiasco going on. We last time it was supposed to be bullshit about how it makes you want to protect her. I have to look into a lot more. Solid Snake would never get that sort of storyline, says Jen stuff. Solid Snake had pretty much one of the few interesting encounters in games where he was being tortured throughout the game. There's a sequence where you're in a chair and you gotta like survive it. And to this date, not many games have done that as maybe as narrative, but not as gameplay. Like Link isn't sat down by Ganondorf. Like, I know it's because it's a family game. He's not in that chair being like, "Tell me where the Gerudos are." And it's like, don't tell, kind of thing.
Oh man.
That wasn't that. But I'm just saying, like, as far as gameplay, I see people trying to explore. Here's the tricky thing. I'm not gonna say for or against, whatever the word bias, what we're gonna say, this sequence, because I haven't read enough about it in Tomb Raider. What I do know is the game industry is trying to, whether you want to say it's for sensationalism or narrative, the game industry really wants to be a lot like movies, where movies have pretty much addressed everything you can think about, be it to its applause or its detriment. You know, like the girl, like they bring up the girl with the dragon tattoo a lot in these kind of articles, being like, "Oh, well, she was a victim," and her story.
Yeah, but that's something that happens while she's already who she is. It's not something that makes her who she is.
What
it's
a lot of people where the two sides of this kind of thing is, it's like, are people trying to turn games into, like, let's take aside the word game for now because that has kind of a child toy kind of story. Are they trying to turn the interactive media of video games into a more story-driven thing and touch on these things which we're not accustomed to, or is this an exploitive idea? Like, this is where it gets really, really tricky to decide with games.
From what I understand of this one, it was handled poorly.
Is it? Has it happened yet, or is it
just from what I've been reading? I mean, I haven't watched the trailer, so I mean, I'd have to watch it to give an actual clever response, like a more
in the end
response.
Yeah. I had this conversation with people in the car recently, and in the end, it's how it's handled.
I just feel like there's this website started by, I believe, Gail Simone. I think it's called Head in the Refrigerator, and it's basically every female character that pretty much her sole reason for her whole backstory, her whole sole reason for being there, everything is like to be a victim character, and that's where the danger comes in. That it's like you can't be a character on your own. You have to be some kind of a catalyst for what makes the hero.
Gene says women in refrigerators.
Women in refrigerators. I think it was like the girlfriend of one of the Green Lanterns, like
really, like
had been killed or something, and he finds her head in a refrigerator, and it's like, so the whole point of this character here was to be what makes him have to go on a rage.
She's the catalyst.
She can't be a character in her own right. She has to be that thing that makes this guy and then he will go get revenge.
That's kind of like,
so it's essentially she's just kind of, and it's a troubling thing because it's letting these characters not be characters. It's like, let's throw every horrible thing at them and then they will be the catalyst that puts the hero on his journey. So that's the danger there.
Yeah, that'd be like kind of the case a lot with, like, it's usually like you lose the family and stuff.
It's
like
the family.
Leonidas, that was his name, right? In Gladiator.
No.
Oh, sorry. Wasn't
Maximus.
Maximus loses his wife and kid.
Yeah.
And they were not characters. They were catalysts for him, his revenge trip and stuff.
Stuff like that happen a lot in stories too, though. So it's like, let's never do this again. You can't really say that. But I think this was just a troubling pattern that Gail Simone was seeing in comics, where it was like, why is this like the backstory for all these characters?
So often.
And why does every female character have to have, like, when they want to go gritty, this has to be part of her backstory?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, why does this have to keep being so? I mean,
I feel like
it's like now we're being more edgy and shocking, and it's like, did that have to be there? So I think it's more just. Yeah, I have to read more into this.
Yeah,
but it's a troubling.
A lot of this is kind of coming to a head because this is also right after for Hitman, that trailer that came out with the nun assassins who were dressed as nuns, with like sexy ladies with guns and rockets, and essentially, like, as a storytelling element, the trailer didn't really make much sense because this bus shows up, all these nuns walk out with guns, and then they like remove their cloaks, and then they're like wearing the fishnets and all that shit. But like, no one sees them do this, so they had no reason to actually take it all off.
Well, it's for the gamer.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and then they basically pull out rockets and guns and start shooting up this motel where Hitman's hiding in. And he basically comes out and beats the piss out of every single one of them and breaks noses and stuff like that. And
yikes.
Whatever. And it was kind of like, you know, all this stuff is kind of happening. I know this has been happening in games for a while, but all these major standout kind of big debate ones are really hitting at the exact same time. And I feel this is kind of a big discussion, a big turning point for games in general, to see what what they're gonna do with this, or who do they. It's like everyone. I don't know. We're in a really weird spot.
Man, I did not come prepared for this conversation. You're like, let's bring the heavy on the Hannigan's Live.
Well, this is a very curious subtopic because it's like.
I mean, if it's handled, I think it's the difference between knowing whether it's something handled well in a story or whether it feels exploitive or just thrown in there for the wrong reasons. I mean, if it's done to serve the story and if it's done to serve the characters, any of this, it's then fine. But if you feel like none of this had to be in there, and all this is a shock value, then it's like, couldn't you have found a more clever way to tell this story? Like, it's. There's so many ways you can tell a story.
Yeah,
right?
I'm just really heavy into analyzing stuff now, especially because I've been doing a lot of like, you've been sending me some links, and I've been doing a lot of like just reading about how people write characters, and even like the stuff, I posted some stuff on the Tumblr with Trey and Matt from South Park showing up to a school and saying like, you might be able to explain it better than me. It was
your story. What was it? Jerry was describing it. Your story shouldn't be this happened and then this happened and then this happened and then this happened. Your story should link.
Yeah.
And so it should be this happened, therefore this happened.
But
this happened,
therefore this happened.
So, everything's supposed to link up. It's not supposed to just be like what, and that's when you know there's a good flow in your story and not just like this complete non sequitur.
I wonder if that would apply to games then.
I would like to find some good examples of each of those to
throw
them out there.
Happened,
to be like, this didn't
happened.
work because this.
But as says Katie, I just came here to draw funny cartoons.
He started
I'm sorry.
it!
This is just a very interesting topic. I'm curious how it's going to pan out. I know it's heavy. I'm sorry if you guys just got off work and you have your marshmallows just floating just daintily in your glass.
Your iced tea.
Your marshmallows and your iced tea,
Summer,
your summer tea. And you're like, time for some chuckles with the Shanahans. Well,
Steven's like, let's talk about...
We hit the heavy issues here, too. Crab tea, says it sucks.
Oh god, we're back at the crab tea.
Yeah. So my points are, keep an eye on this scenario because something's going to come from it. I don't know what just yet. I'm not saying it's going to be anything crazy, but it's just like...
Oh, about the jerky.
Well, the whole thing we started from. So look up tropes
I just wonder what the answer to that is. It's like, do you make people accountable for their online persona? Because if everybody knew that any handle you made could be tracked down, then maybe you wouldn't be such a dick on the internet.
Who's tracking you down? It's like you said a not nice thing on Kickstarter. It's like, okay.
No, but I mean, like, if you made a death threat on a YouTube and then someone knocked on your door,
that's true.
and I mean, you can't track down everyone, and then suddenly it's like 1984, and oh my god, I'm being
that's the thing. It's like, I'm just sharing my opinion, and I can't say what I think, and it's like, well, you're a very mean person, then. Like, what else
sometimes they're very mean people.
What else can I say?
Essentially, it's just changing. I mean, maybe it's as long as you make sure the people who have a strong voice that people will listen to will get the messages out there that are good, because it's like these people that are firing off all of this hate. If the websites they were reading that were like, check out this bitch, blah, 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 were like, this is actually really important, guys, check this out. Then, if it's being shown in a different light, then maybe you're like, oh, okay, instead of like, I have to attack this. Because it's like, are they all just finding this video randomly, or is it some website they're on that's like, go here and see what stupidity this is. She thinks that all our video games are being too sexist, but blah, blah,
Yeah, well, that's my stand on it, is I want it to be like, let's watch it and then form your opinion. Don't just like tackle it from the beginning. Just be like, this is horrible and it has to end and we must take down this Kickstarter. It's like, well, dude,
no, but I mean,
the point is
the point is that she wants to start a discussion.
Yeah.
And it looked like from what her Kickstarter was she's been making a lot of videos that can be used in an educational way, I guess, because it sounds like she makes a lot of videos that people show in schools and things like that. And honestly, I think it's really important, especially as a girl gamer.
Yeah.
It's
something that needs to be talked about. Let's just put it that way.
When especially if you're a little girl gamer that, you're starting to come out into the world and there's all this like mean jerkiness out there. It's like, this needs to be...
Tell me that's on the back of the box. It's like, Gears of War contains mean jerkiness.
No, not the game.
Oh, okay.
Play.
I thought you were saying there's a lot of mean jerkiness in these games.
No, not that stuff. Not the story, but I mean like certain players that maybe are dickish and will talk to you a certain way because you're a girl gamer.
Yeah.
This stuff needs to be addressed because there's still a problem.
Yeah.
What is that thing? It's we must have said this on the show already, but it was like a quote with Joss Whedon where someone asks him, why do you keep writing these strong female lead characters. Like, why do you do that? And he's like, well, because you keep asking these questions.
Oh, yeah,
because this is still a question.
That's the thing.
Because
like,
it has to be something special.
If it's a question, then it's a process.
That is something unique. Because it's unique. You should still keep doing it because it's not something. It's like, oh, that's different. It's like, no, this should be something that just happens.
I think Tina Fey pointed out too, because like she won some award, and it's like she's the 4th woman to win this, and she's like, well, hopefully they don't have to say that anymore soon or something like that.
They're counting.
It was just like, okay,
that's a problem.
I'm glad you pointed that out.
And it's like, sure, excellent, but it's like, I hope that I'm able to see a point where it's not ticking this off. That I'm able to be just.
That's the premise of like equality. It's like if everything is a norm,
Well, to the point that it's not asked anymore.
Weird stuff. So, to recap, look into this because this is going to be popping up to our games. I want you guys just to be on the nose of what's happening. So it's Feminist Frequencies, Kickstarter, Tropes versus Women. Check out the video, form your opinions, see what you think. And like once again, read is to have even me. I feel like I still don't even know enough, but try to have the most informed opinion on anything you can. Unfortunately, that means you have to hear both sides.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, you need to just absorb everything before you can have any kind of intelligent way to like me. I'm just going off of stuff I've heard on Twitter. Like, I don't know enough about it. So just stay informed. I mean, that's the best thing you can do for yourself. That's the best thing you can do for the people you care about and want to make a difference for. Is just stay informed. It's knowledge is power, people. Just the internet has so much out there.
They said knowing was half the battle.
Yeah.
And that's what you gotta know.
Was that their ending thing?
G.I. Joe.
Punches a guy. Knowing is half the battle.
Take that, Snake Man. I forget all their names.
Yeah.
Snake Mountain.
Those morals helped, right?
No. From time to time again.
Help computer.
Hey kid. I'm a computer. Well, things certainly got heavy, but sometimes we gotta talk about the things that we gotta fix and learn from.
Yeah. I didn't even get to talk about my Raiders spoiler.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so this is what I read on
Cobra Commander, thank you.
Hulk reviews, and it totally ruined Raiders of the Lost Ark for me.
Oh, brace yourselves.
I mean, it was still fun, but like logistically, this just made sense. If for everybody who's seen the first Indiana Jones Raiders, if Indy just let the Nazis take the Ark, that would have solved everyone's problem, because they would have taken it back to Berlin, opened it up in front of Hitler and all the bad Nazis, and the Angel of Death would have eaten all the bad Nazis. And that would have been problem solved.
There you go.
Yeah. And I was like, no! That makes sense.
And then the other half was...
Well, the Nazis were digging in the wrong place. And if Indy hadn't have been like, I know where the right place is, they wouldn't have found it.
Yeah, they wouldn't have found the Ark.
Yeah.
Wasn't that thing where like...
But you know what? It's the adventure is what it's all about.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I love that movie.
You don't watch Indiana Jones to be like, well, that doesn't make sense.
I know.
Like,
it's like giant boulder. What was that doing up there?
Yeah, why would there be a giant boulder
ready to roll?
How
does a solid gold statue weigh as much as a bag of sand?
Yeah, well, it didn't. That's why I screwed up.
Oh man, has anyone seen Prometheus yet? I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, I haven't seen Prometheus yet, but I've been hearing some things.
I really, really like the robot.
David?
I always like the android.
Hello, I'm David. No spoilers. This isn't a show with spoilers. It's a show about education.
Yeah.
Or a learning show. Mm-hmm. Can you show what you've drawn?
You know what? I don't mind this one.
All right. So the other picture, you guys will have to imagine what it was like. But now that we've reached near the end of the episode, you can see what Katie's been doing.
Yeah, basically the commission was anything sword or magic-y. So the first one is a witch girl with a blade, and then this one's a doodle of more like a... Oh, it froze.
What?
Oh my. So much I guess you're not going to see it after all.
No, sick. Sorry if our video froze. We're fixing it because we're technologically whatevered.
Okay, the second one's more like a Oni girl with high boots and lots of chainmail and stuff, but I'm still adding to it. So yeah, big horns, swords, yay! I like to when I do commissions, I give people 2 or 3 things to choose from, so I know which direction to go from. Yeah, and then all these other ones are just, I'm not even gonna show you. They're just dumb.
You guys can enjoy your marshmallow tea while we keep our pictures hidden from you. We are rounding up because it's hot up here and I'm sweaty as a sweaty beast.
gross up here.
In the last 5 minutes, do you guys have any questions? Because this is an educational show, and we like to explore and discuss things.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any questions of the creative process or our opinions on musicals, you can ask us, and we will address them. Otherwise, we might have to start wrapping up.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get some water.
Yeah.
And air conditioning.
You want to take mine?
Nah, nah. I don't deserve more water. What am I looking for? I'm looking for that thing that I like to hold and tell you about things. There's a book out there. Wait. Oh, the oatmeal thing. Did you follow up on that?
What oatmeal thing?
Online content parsers. There's this other website called like Funny Stuff or something like that. And they've been apparently uploading oatmeal. You know the oatmeal webcomic? The Bobcats. How to punch a bear. Pet Tyrannosaurus. Okay, well, Oatmeal is one of those websites where the guy uploads funny things. And it's usually like very poignant or like timely, where it's like, what to do for Father's Day? And it's like, don't punch your dad. Or something.
Oh!
You know, it's like a list, but a comic list. And it's like things I hate on Facebook. And it's like when people upload pictures of their kid as their main page.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's like their kid's face next to it. I got so drunk last night.
I know.
Blah,
I see that sometimes too. It's like these huge political things. I'm like, this is baby.
Yeah. So like Oatmeal is pretty good for that kind of stuff. Basically, there's this other website that's been like uploading the Oatmeal comics to their page and like getting ad revenue and stuff. And for the longest time, the Oatmeal guys have been like, "Yo, take this down now because I see what you're doing." And then like he basically on his own site was writing things like. These guys are, getting money off of this and they're dumbasses and jerks. So basically the other guys decided to sue him for his inflammatory comments.
How can they do that?
And the lawyer basically says, give me like, how much money was it? It was like, hand me like $20,000 by check or something like that. And it's just like, his most recent comic just went off a rail on that. And it's like, you get to read the whole thing. So unfortunately...
How would that happen?
Well,
how did that legally happen?
I don't know, because supposedly their lawyer is just a complete dumbass. Because if you read anything in it, like nothing makes sense, and he points it out. So,
but he has to go to court.
I hope not. Because
that's going to be expensive just to be there.
He said he was going to raise $20,000 just to take a picture of it and then give it away to charity or something like that. It was going to be like, yeah.
What?
Well, unfortunately, we have to do a little more research on this topic before we can have a formed opinion on it, because having formed opinions means having knowledge, and though I may not have knowledge on what the word bias means, I swear that word's been used, though, as a matter of
I feel like
leaning, not 100%-ness.
I mean, yeah, you can be more biased towards something.
Yeah, you can be biased towards, but doesn't necessarily mean 100% towards.
But I just wonder if it's a word that's been kind of morphed by English language.
All right, last minute.
Like, we're like, I have a killer headache. It's like, is it actually killing you?
No. Oh, you're talking about like...
it's being...
Like, it was hilarious. I peed my pants.
Yeah, or how I say everything's awesome, but how awesome is it?
Is it one... All right, so is
it really awe-inspiring?
I just don't want to sound like an idiot from the past hour. So can we agree that the term bias refers to a preference towards, but not a 100% stand by?
Okay.
Maybe that's where it came from, stand by. I stand by you.
Stand biased?
I'm biased. I stand by you.
Yeah.
Alright, we got 2 sure's, a why not, and an agreed. Thank you.
Okay.
I will be careful not to use the word improperly from the rest of the shows.
Hey.
But we are a learning show, are we not? So we learn how to speak.
Go, yes.
Feather Heathers, I'm biased, though.
Nice.
Everyone's biased towards something. I'm biased towards good meals.
I'm biased towards being alive.
Rockin'.
I don't know.
I'm biased towards this. I want to buy it. It's still the kingdom. It's one of these books that you will buy it.
Oh, man.
With your money. Start again. Boom. Still the Kingdom. Elegant Breakfast 211th birthday is a fun, fantastical, funsy, frenzy time if you like magic, cake, people talking, and shenanigans through and throughout.
I love all those things.
Yes. Guess what?
What?
Still the Kingdom.
What?
Now, this book, $10 if you want a physical copy.
But I don't like paper cuts.
You don't like paper cuts?
No.
Well, there's nothing I can do for you.
Oh, but isn't there a digital copy?
Well, there's a digital copy of this book, too. You can get in PDF format. And it's future-proofed. I've talked to scientists, and he's like, dude, so it's future-proof.
Is this one scientist with 2 heads?
What?
I talk to scientists.
I talk to
And
scientists.
he's like, dude.
Any singing. Didn't I already sing this episode?
Can you sing about
It's even good to buy for friends, says Fluxbox. Yes, it is.
Yep.
All your friends and your two-headed scientists who said dude will enjoy it. They will also enjoy cautionary fables and fairy tales. Boom. If you like books that have a nice balance of words and pictures
Like comics?
that address the subject matter of tales of folklore
What?
within humorous or dark interludes, you will enjoy this. Cautionary fables and fairy tales. It can be found at
CFFT.bigcartel.com.
Big Cartel, and you can read it to your friends, and you can share it with the world, and then your world will be well more learned and biased towards it. Unfairly so.
Oh, man.
This time I mean it, 100% biased towards good readings, good books. You should all keep your eyes out for good books and good readings. And I'd say good riddance because it rhymed, but I don't want to say good riddance to these kind, nice people because they joined us tonight for another episode of Shenanigans Live. You can find us every Wednesday over here on the Ustream. Yes, and what was the other thing? We're going to have to start moving the older episodes or deleting them or something because we are
them,
completely out of space on
Yeah.
Ustream's 10 gigs. So we either delete or move or back up or save. So if you haven't watched old
Deleting.
episodes yet, get on that. We're going to be removing them soon.
We're going to find a place to save them. To bring them
we
up
have
later.
to. But hey, we're like 37 episodes in, something like that? 37. Excellent. We're that many episodes in. And you guys could check out if we put on YouTube. You guys watch old episodes. But otherwise, they're here in archives. Check them out now while they're still here. Who knows what's going to happen? This episode might not even be recorded properly because the last episode near the end when it got good started falling apart.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it starts skipping. And we were answering questions. Good questions,
no,
too.
I didn't notice.
Oh, it was horrible.
Dang.
Don't you need a pro account to have longer than 10 minutes? No? 10
no,
gigs.
just have more than 10 gigs.
10-minute Ustreams. That would be so crazy.
Yeah, that'd be next.
I wouldn't have time to get angry. Okay.
We definitely have to find a better way to stream this stuff because you stream your commercials and stuff.
Free services, I tell you.
I know.
Anyways, we'll be back next week. Keep yourselves informed on the world of entertainment and creativity because you want to be the smartest person on the block and the coolest kid in school. That's Katie. That's me. Shaggy.
Ciao.
I'm going to say goodbye now.
Yeah.
Stop recording. See ya.